welcome back to another episode of our Secure Dental Podcast, where we bring in many bright dental talents from all over, both inside and outside our dental profession. Today, we have a very, very special guest. But before we go on, this pod is sponsored by DentVia, a dental virtual administration company that focuses on back-end dental office tasks like calls, claims, AR, etc., to assist our front desk personnel and office managers with their daily tasks. Visit them at www.dentvia.com. That's www.dentvia.com. So now, without further ado, let's dive right in. So today we have Dr. Juan Gonzalez, and this guy is like the master of full arches. So Dr. Gonzalez is an oral maxillofacial surgeon, and he's both certified, specialized in both full arch rehab, and he is a co-creator of PATZi protocol, and is one of those world-renowned for treatment of severely atrophic full arch cases. His service in the military, as well as his love for teaching and mentorship, has resulted in over 15 years of advanced full arch implant experience. So, Dr. Gonzalez, it's such an honor to have you here. Let's dive right in.
Honor is mine, Dr. Liu. Thanks for inviting me.
No, it's great. So let's start with the first question. What's your background? Where did you get started?
How far do you want to go?
Let's start with dental school.
Dental school, I went to dental school in Puerto Rico, and I graduated from dental school, and then I did a 1-year GPR, and then I signed up with the military, where I moved to Texas with the Army, and I did 2.5 years of general dentistry attached to the ground unit. It was called forward support unit, where I had a mobile truck that was a dental clinic. So we were behind wherever the people were fighting. We were miles behind providing medical and dental care. After that, I went to residency, and I did my residency at Brooke Army Medical Center in San Antonio, Texas. Then after graduating from oral surgery, I went to Fort Hood, Texas, where I spent 5 years as the chief of oral surgery at the hospital over there.
So you were at the front lines?
I did not get deployed. We did a lot of training, but right before getting deployed to Iraq, I got selected for residency, and I was ready to go. But the captain that was in charge of the unit told me, "Hey, we have a new dentist coming in. You go do your residency." And to me, to tell you the truth, I felt a little bit sad because I had trained with that unit for 2 years. I was looking forward to deploy with them, and then somebody else ended up going instead of me. And all in all, in over 20 years of military service, I came up for deployment 3 times, and always something happened. Not on me. I was ready and I wanted to be deployed. I was always a player, but something would happen, and things happen in life. You don't know the reason, and for some reason, I never ended up getting deployed.
So, what was residency like when you were starting? Did you do any kind of like oral surgery while you were in service, or did you do everything like after residency?
Oh, everything in residency, and long hours every day, 14, 16 hours. I remember one time when I was doing the general surgery rotation, I stayed up for 42 hours, and I think I slept for like 12 straight hours after that. It's long hours, lots of work, lots of learning. It's very intense residency, but you learn so much. You make friendships for life too.
Now, is this because you had like very good work ethics, or was it like the military background had influenced the approach, how you did things at the residency?
I think it's just standard residency training. I know that over the years now, things have gotten a little bit easier because they have cranked down on hours. They were abusing residents back in the day, and they were they were getting 100 hours out of residents, and then a lot of medical mistakes are being made. So they had to regulate things and put a limit on the hours that residents could work in a week.
So once you graduated residency, what was your first job or your first, step in your career?
As soon as I finished residency, I went to Fort Hood Texas, and then being the most senior there, I ended up being the chief of oral surgery at the hospital, Darnell Army Medical Center in Fort Hood, Texas. And I was in charge of three other oral surgeons where we covered everything. We covered trauma, orthodontics, cosmetics, pathology, and we also
Okay.
trained GPR residents. That's probably my beginning on teaching. Even though that any oral surgeon that graduates from residency is a good teacher because you're mentoring always your junior residents.
That's nice. That's nice. So you went back into the army then, right?
Yes,
Like
yes,
after.
because you owe them a commitment when you sign up with the military.
Sure.
Basically, you sign up for a certain number of years. When you do training, if you train for 4 years, you owe them back 4 years. So you had to train with them for 4 years and do work with
Gotcha.
them for 4 years.
Gotcha. So what inspired you to go into from oral surgery and you went straight to, like, even though it's part of oral surgery, the full arch treatment rehab?
Well,
Like,
I just,
what got you motivated?
yeah, that's a long story on itself. And after for Hood, I didn't do any full arch in the military back then. Full arch was not a thing. We did single implants and snap-ons and things like that. When I finished, before I finished my military commitment, I started what we call moonlighting whenever you're in the military.
Right.
And you start working part-time because, military pay is not that great. So in a few days of work outside the military, in the civilian world, you can make more money than in the military in a whole month. So you basically use your days off to do some work. So at that time, I started working at a friend's office in Austin. Fort Hood is about 45 minutes, an hour away from Austin, North Austin. So I was doing some work at a really good ex-military friend of mine, Hank Marcantoni, great oral surgeon. And there I was doing the usual wisdom teeth, single implants and whatnot. So fast forward a few years and I get out of the military. I opened my own practice in San Antonio. The practice for several reasons. I had another partner, oral surgeon, very nice guy, great surgeon. But the practice being in a place that had a lot of competition, and then we both had side jobs in corporate. So the practice never really took off, and we were planning on closing it. That's when Dan Halsco was looking for oral surgeons to partner with and open an office in San Antonio. So through a mutual friend, we met and we got together, and then we started working together. So Dan's practice was solely concentrated on full arch, just basic full arch, what everybody was doing about 8-10 years ago. Just you put implants wherever you find the bone. So that combination of having a periodontist, in summarizing, but that combination of having a periodontist and an oral surgeon, we kind of complemented each other. And we took everything to the next level, like combining techniques and improving techniques.
Was that like a first go towards full arch rehab?
That was, I have had a little bit on corporate. The office I was working, a little bit of full arch experience, but it was very minimal. And the first case I did was guided, and it didn't take me long to realize that you always have to, if you cannot freehand it, you probably shouldn't use a guide, because guides give you a false sense of security, and you have to always be able to be ready to take over if the guide doesn't work.
I want to reemphasize that again. You said if you are not able to place freehand, don't even try a guide, right?
You shouldn't, because the problem is they give you a false sense of security, and then
Absolutely.
nothing is better than experience, and that experience of drilling, of feeling the bone as you're drilling. And then as you drill, you can tell, okay, this bone is soft. I'm going to under prep, and then I'm going to place a bigger implant. So that's that type of thing you don't get with a guide. And then if you follow everything in the guide, you might have the perfect position, but then you have no torque. What are you going to do after that?
Love it. This is coming from somebody who's like experienced, right? So I mean, a lot of guys like nowadays, they're all about guides, and they're like, "Oh, if there's no guide, I cannot do it." And I just love what you just said. I just
Let's
love what
put
you
it
just
this
said.
way. I've done a few arches, so I might have a little bit of an idea.
No, that's great. So tell me, what are some of the challenges that you face when you're doing like a full arch rehab where there is no ridge, and when you first started? So challenges and all the mindset thing that you went through.
So when we first started, we were doing the usual, the putting implants here and there. But then we started realizing, there's some atrophic maxillas out there that don't really have bone. And traditionally, the way these were done, it was you remove the teeth, you bone graft into the sinus, you wait months, then place the implants and wait longer. And it was a lot of time, very unpredictable, at least in my hands. I'm an oral surgeon,
Sure.
so, I'm not a periodontist. So I always pick on periodontists, but they're good people. I got many good friends. And so, but it's more unpredictable, and it's over a year until the patient ends up with teeth. And then if you have failures, then that sets you back. With remote anchorage, it's all immediate. So when we realized that, I went and did just a 1 day course on zygomatic implants just to be familiar with the anatomy and the technique. After seeing that, because as oral surgeons, we know all the anatomy, we know the surgical techniques. I can pretty much look at it, watch a surgery in YouTube or read about something, and pretty much we can do it. So I did a 1 day course, and I saw zygomatic implants. Then I went back to the clinic, started doing them, started modifying the techniques, improving it, changing it. Then at that time, Dan was not doing zygos, so he just watched me do a lot of zygos, and then that way he learned how to do zygos. And then one day he shows up at the clinic and says, "Hey, check this out. I can't remember. He's told me a million times, and I can't remember where he got the pterygoid technique, which has been around for a long time. But he pretty much kind of like was one of the ones that reintroduced it into the US and made it popular. So he showed me that. I was like, oh, that's a cool technique. So after that, we started combining all the techniques, and after doing hundreds and hundreds of cases, I noticed a pattern that I was always following, and that's basically the birth of the PATZi protocol. Which PATZi protocol, a little bit of inside story. But after I noticed that pattern, I told Dan, he had already named the PFAS, the adding pterygoids to a regular oral 4. So I was like, hey, we need to name this something. And he's like, well, should we call it like the zippy technique or something like that? I'm like, I don't know about that name. So I was given one of my first courses in Dallas, and the night before, I was like, you know what? Posterior, anterior, tilted, zygo. That's the way I do everything. So PATZ, but that PATZ sounds weird. So I added the I. So PATZi, posterior, anterior, tilted zygomatic implants, which was a way. And it's a way I do every single case. And I have never, ever had a single case, not one case ever live without teeth the day of the surgery. Now, that doesn't count the deliveries the next day. I'm saying what I mean is I've not been able to load a case. 100% success rate at immediate loading cases. And the protocol, it's not, so some people think it's like I'm renaming, like I'm making my own names for anything. No, it's not a classification system. I'm not reinventing the wheel. I'm using techniques that have been around for a long time. Many techniques that have been developed by many people. The only thing is that I put it in an order that if you know all the techniques, of course you have to know the techniques. And some people criticize, oh, but if techniques work only in one person, well, that's where there's neurosurgeons. Not everybody can do brain surgery, but you train to do brain surgery, and you can do brain surgery. So the same thing with this. If you cannot do all the techniques or no, then maybe you should be able to recognize cases that you shouldn't be doing, and then either let somebody else do those cases or learn the techniques, which is what we're doing. So it's just a logical order where I always start in the back with the pterygoids, move anterior, and anteriorly there's a lot of different techniques to obtain anchorage anteriorly, and then in the middle. I end up in the middle and always follow the same protocol. And if one technique doesn't work, you move to the other one.
No, that's such great insight. So did you ever have like a mentor that you went through, or this is something where you just saw one day and you're like, hey, I can do this?
pretty much with the basic arch, I cannot like watch Dan, but for the remote anchorage, I pretty much just combining techniques, figuring stuff by myself, and talking to other people and watching techniques on YouTube and like people like
Nice.
many people that I've interacted with, and we have a really good relationship. Like Simon O, David Zelig, Alexander
You
Alan.
guys just formed a team, right?
Yeah, no, we have a big team. We have a big group. There's about 50 of us in a group that we are
Yeah, sure.
constantly sharing ideas and talking and helping each other. And I think by doing this, and we have really great camaraderie. We talk pretty much almost every day. And it's not just here in the US. We have also many people internationally that belong to this group, and we all talk.
Oh, I love it. Look at this guy. I mean, 1 day course and he mastered it. I mean, this is something which is really, really amazing. Love it. So tell me something about your courses. I know you've been teaching for over 15 years. And what is one thing that you are so passionate about? And I know like you love to mentor young guys, right? Coming out.
Yeah, so it all started, and I have to give credit where credit is due. And so it all started. You're gonna laugh about this, but it was a rep, Austin Neoden rep, female Casey Ingram. She would come to the clinic, and we kind of like didn't like each other. You know, we didn't. She thought I was not nice, and you know, so. But one day she said, "Hey, you know, how come you're not on social media?" And I said, "Because I hate social media. I don't like social media."
Wow.
She said, "Well, you should because you do good work." And I was like, "Well, are you going to manage it? Because I don't know anything about you know technology." She said, "No, you have to do it yourself." So I started taking pictures of cases, and it took a while until I developed my format that well, I started documenting everything. So once I started doing my social media, then people started reaching out. I started with 0 people. And to this day, I have
Wow.
never paid any money. I have paid 0 to increase my social media because my social media is not for profit. My social media is not for I don't own an office, so I'm not promoting anything. All I'm doing is trying to do whatever knowledge people think I have, you just give it to the world for free and give it to people for free. So I had the first person that reached out to social media was a guy from Florida, really nice guy, and Keenan Osman. So he reached out and I just gave him my phone number. And he called me back and we talked and he said, "Well, can I come to Austin and watch your work?" I was like, "Sure." And he's like, "How much is that going to cost me?" I was like, "0. Just come here and hang out." That was the first person that came and he flew from Florida. And then I decided
Wow.
to look him. Yeah, I decided to look him up on Instagram, and I saw on his post this thing that looked like a mouth condom. I was like, "What the hell is that?" And I asked my restorative doctor, Dr. Sarah Emery, "Hey, do you know what this mouth condom is?" And she's like, "Yeah, that's an Optergate, and we have them in the clinic." I was like, "Oh." So I used that day, that Optergate. So, and I was in love with it. I'm like, "This thing is awesome. I'm using this on every single case." And I've used it ever since on every single case. And I promote it heavily because it helps you retire
Wow.
traction and protecting the leak. So the point of the story is that this guy wanted to come learn from me. And he already taught me something before he even came here. So that was the
Love
first
it.
of many. After that, for the next like about 2-3 years, I have dozens and dozens of people that would come from all over the place. You know, I've had people from Venezuela, Spain, and but mostly from the US that have come just to watch procedures, and they would come to the clinic, hang out, watch procedures. I've never charged anybody a single dime. On the contrary, they all cost me money because after they would come watch, I would take them to my gun range and they would shoot machine guns.
Oh,
And you know, machine guns shoot a lot of ammo real quick, real fast, and it gets really expensive quick. Yeah, but I created a lot of connections. Then after that, and I work with all implant companies, so I don't have a problem talking about them. So I created a relationship with Norris Medical, and they were really good to me. And I travel to all over the US and all over the world, giving lectures on remote anchorage with them, giving also cadaver courses. Then after that, now I work with multiple companies like Neodent, SIN, JD,
Okay.
Southern. So I try to keep a relationship with all of them, and then that led to ORCAA, where I partner with Simon O and Eldad Drury, and I think we have the best training in the world. Period. And we
So
have
what is ORCAA? What's
ORCAA
ORCAA?
Global was founded by Simon O and Eldad, and then I came in early, and it's a group of that we bring some of the best surgeons in the world. And
Okay.
we have a partnership with the UFM, University of Francisco Marroquin in Guatemala. This university has probably some of the best facilities in the world, way than 99% of the university dental schools in the United States. The personnel there, the staff, they're incredible. So we go to we have people that train level 2 and level 3. Level 2 is regular arches. Level 3 is remote anchorage. And we go there 2 weeks out of the year. And we have about 14 participants, 6 level 3, 8 level 2, and a lot of observers. I can't remember the number of observers. And we have 7 staff. And usually we have 2 alternate staff just in case. So about 9 staff. And in a period of 5 days, we do approximately about 30 patients and close to 60 arches. Then we also partner with restorative doctors like Instarisa has been supporting us for the last few ORCAs, and they do all the restorative work. So every single patient that we do leaves with teeth the next day. It's a lot of hard work, very intense week. And it doesn't end there, because whenever we're done with all those patients, we usually stay behind and we bring other specialties like ENT, microvascular, oral surgeons like Dr. Stephen Yusupov and Keithan Patel, Joe Camarada, plastic surgeons, and we do pathology patients for free. We've already taken care of 2 patients with pathology, 1 myxoma, 1 ameloblastoma, 1 girl that got shot in the maxilla. And we're having next month, I won't be able to go because I'm going to be in Australia with Simon O. But we have a group of doctors that are going to be there and taking care of a 9-year-old with a mandibular ameloblastoma. All this for free.
This is so
Thanks to the
amazing. This is
contribution.
so amazing.
And we're planning on expanding. So stay tuned, because we might be doing these in other countries.
This is crazy, because I've heard where there's a lot of courses out there. They do all the surgeries done, but then there's no follow-ups for those guys. And what you're doing is amazing, that they're getting teeth and the restorative is being done. That's huge.
No, not just that, but at ORCAA, we cannot guarantee you that this case, if we tell you, you'll probably do this many, but we cannot guarantee you that a case is going to be a quad. Because we follow PATZi, and if it's a quad, it's a quad. If it's not a quad, before doing a quad, we're going to try everything else. Before even doing a zygote, we're going to try. If we cannot do tilted, we'll go with transinus, palatal approach, whatever we need to do to avoid the quad. But if it's the zygote, it's a zygote. And the same thing in the anterior, we can do palatal approach, or if we can do transnasal. Whatever approach, but the number of atrophic maxillas in Guatemala is so high that usually the participants' exposure to all techniques is pretty much guaranteed.
So it's like, it's not, what you're saying is, if the patient does not need it, it's not going to happen. And if they need it,
it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
Right.
I'm not going to let anybody do a quad on somebody that does not need a quad.
Just because.
No.
Love it. Yeah. Love it. So how do you screen these patients? Are you like down there? Do you have a team down there who's actually screening them for the participants?
We have a team. It's Fernando and Dr. Hector Clay, Dr. Fernando, and I can't remember Fernando's last name right now. Dr. Rodrigo
Sure.
Callarga. And there's a really good team of doctors, all the residents there. So we have support of the dean there, Dean Mata, with
Oh,
the
nice.
university. They're constantly scanning for patients. They see patients, and they if they think the patient can benefit, then they put them on a list. And then as ORCAA
Mm,
approaches, which is every February and September, as it approaches a few months before, they start getting a list of patients, and then they send us after they have looked at all those CTs. They send Simon and I the CTs, and I personally went
okay.
in 45 CTs to classify them on the ones that
Oh,
could be
wow.
level 2, level 3, and so on. It's a lot of work.
Oh,
Let's put it
that's
this way:
great.
people have
That's
no idea of the amount of work that we go to be able to organize one of this.
and what's your standard of protocol for measuring success in these courses for the participants?
So for level 2, we vet them. We make sure they have to fill out an application, and we have to make
Okay.
sure that the candidate has enough experience that they're not going to waste their time or our time, because it's
Mm,
not a basic course. It's an advanced course. And for level 3, I expect, and I sometimes have to interview them on the phone to make sure that they have already have experience. Number one. Number 2, have done didactic, cadaver, and some of them have even done already several Zygo courses in other countries before they come in. Because if not, it's just a waste of time for everybody. We just don't have enough time in those 5 days to do
right.
to do much didactic work. So it's pretty much all hands on.
So is it like taking your course first, like the didactic portion, and that
Yes,
if somebody comes
there's
in, like,
yeah, there's many courses. I can't keep track of them, but I have courses. Many different companies have courses that they
sure,
give. My recommendation would be to start with learning all the basics of implants. Once somebody's seasoned at placing hundreds of implants, and they feel comfortable doing full arch, then start moving to the basics of full arch. And there's many courses for that. And then for remote x-rays, there's also many courses. Like one of the best courses is in Virginia Beach at the Atlantic Implant Institute with Adam
right.
Hogan. He has many different courses from basic full arch to advanced full arch, and also even business aspect of full arch.
Love it, love it. So basically, guys can just go and take any of the full arch courses or any of the Zygos, and then
Yes.
they can qualify with you. Okay,
Yeah, it doesn't have to be.
that's
I
amazing.
don't hit people. No, it doesn't have to be just with me. There's many qualified people there that can do this. You know, to name a few. You know, Dan Holschool, David Dulaw,
Right.
Alexander Alam, Stephen Nelson, Alex Wayne. So many people that can do these courses. I have, of course, I'm only biased. I give several of them. I'm going to be giving one soon in Mexico with Nestor Marquez, a really good guy. I have another one in Australia with Simon O, and I had another one
Okay.
with Clark Damon and Rick Klein, which they give an excellent course in Dallas. So there's many courses. My Instagram is, I'm easy to reach on Instagram. I manage my own Instagram. Everything that you see there, I posted myself. I answer phone calls. I answer messages. So it's dr.g.dmd.omfs. And most people probably
Okay.
already have it. So if anybody has a question about courses, you know, I'm very opinionated, but I'm fair. And if something is good, it's good. And if I don't like something, I say it. I don't like it. You know, I don't have a problem with that.
No, I'm really excited because I think I signed up for your August one, the Dallas one. So
Oh,
really
it's gonna
looking
be good.
forward.
It's gonna be good.
Yeah, right.
On the last one, I'll see if you saw the post. But at one point, I was like, you know, let's put it this way, a little bit bored. So while people were having lunch, I went back and I was like, you know what? There's a lot of people that like to show off that they can place 3 That's not a big deal, you know. So I put 4 on the cadaver because I would never do that on a real person. I don't even think there's a need to place 3 zygomatic implants in a person. So you'll never see me do that in a person. But a cadaver, you know what? That's a different
Let's do
story.
it.
Just to show
Right.
the capabilities that you know, things that we can do with today's system.
Love it. So as far as this, what you call it, your courses are concerned, are you like still like the main person who's like teaching it one-on-one with the students, or do you have like a faculty team member?
When we do the cases in at these cadaver courses, yes, it's going to be one-on-one. I'm going to be there with whoever I'm working with, whether it's
Sure.
like hard game on recline. We're all there like one-on-one. But in Guatemala, it's just too many participants in Guatemala. So
Sure.
I had to step back on this one. This was the first one that I was not actively doing. So I had to step back and but every single person that I bring to teach at ORCAA is qualified. Even the level 2 mentors, they're all qualified to work level 3. So every
Love
single
it.
one of them, I didn't have to really do much. I ended up doing a few cases just because to give a break to some of the people. So, and we're continuously evolving in the training. So the other thing is the people that I work with, that go to my courses or something like that, I'm always open if they have a difficult case, because not everybody that does a case feels comfortable going back to do. Some of them would like to have some more mentorship and have maybe that
Sure.
guardian angel over their shoulder when they're doing a case. So I do a lot of what I call one-on-one training.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, so
That's a lot
I
of
do
time for
that.
you. Yeah.
Yeah, and I do it just to help because a lot of these people, they're great doctors and great surgeons, and I create relationships, and they might just want to have extra insurance on those first cases. And I travel all over the country helping them. And that frankly is not even worth the money. I just do it because of the camaraderie. These are
Sure.
people that I develop relationships. I end up going to visit. I stay at their houses. I get to meet their families, and they treat me like family. So these are friendships for life.
One thing I really love about you have such humble, personality and humble beginnings. And I mean, you keep everything so down to earth. This is something which is so
Yeah.
great about you.
Well, life is short. I've already had a lot of friends, that are no longer with us, and it's like you can make all the money in the world. You can work 5-6 days a week and make a lot of money, but something is going to be affected. And then after having
Right.
friends pass at a young age, and then my dad was an ER physician, so he didn't spend a lot of time at home with us at the beginning. But he tried to do as much as he could on weekends with us. So after that, I learned, you know what? I'm not going to be like that. So for the last, I would say about 5 years, I've been working only about 2 to 3 days a week and spending more time with my family. Now my kids are a little bit older.
Nice.
So I can be, they're still young, 12, 14, 17. But I still do things with them. I still like to do things. I still like to do lots of trips with my wife. And I'm not. I would say I'm the poorest oral surgeon because I don't own anything. But I'm rich in experiences and friendships and family and
Sure.
all that stuff. And I try to enjoy life as much as I can because people always forget that this is not forever. You can be gone tomorrow. You can be gone tonight. You never know. So I try to enjoy constantly learning new things. And having new experiences.
Yeah. Love your approach to life. So last question for you. Any takeaways for young people coming up, like want to be surgeons and they are aspiring to do full arches? What kind of advice or direction would you like to give them?
Well, learn as much as you can do, as much as you can, as much experience. Take as many courses and find a mentor. Find somebody that can mentor you and guide you because it's like anybody can do these cases. I can train pretty much anybody to do these cases, but it's managing the complications that makes a difference. And if you cannot manage the complications, or then probably you shouldn't be doing these cases. And unfortunately, everybody wants to do these cases, and everybody's doing them these days. And how we like to say, winter is coming, meaning that,
Yeah.
and I'm starting to see it already, all the cases that have not been done properly, they're starting to come back, and I've been fixing a lot of cases. This number is only going to increase with time. So my advice is do as many courses as you can, get as much experience, get a mentor, and always try to do what's best for the patient. And I mean, example is about 3 years ago, I did my own mother. I did my own mother surgery.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, it was a remote anchorage. And then I wanted to show that I trusted my whole team. So I let them place the pterygoids on her. Then I placed the anterior implants, I placed the zygos. Then I let my anesthesiologist put her to sleep. Not only that, but I also let my anesthesiologist, Brett Harris, who's the best anesthesiologist that I work with. He also is a dental anesthesiologist, so I let him take out her mandibular teeth. And then I did her mandible, and then I let my restorative doctor, Dr. Emery, do her restoration. So that showed that I trusted my whole team. And if I didn't believe in this type of treatment, I wouldn't have done my own mother.
That speaks volumes, by the way. If you do all this stuff with your mom and you really entrusted your team. So that's huge, really, really huge. So last thing is, how can, besides your Instagram, any other website or any place where audience or we can find you?
Unfortunately, I need to figure out how to transfer all my Instagram to Facebook. So, no, basically, Instagram is the easiest way. And from there, because I don't have a website, and I don't have a Facebook or anything else. And I'm still in between clinics. I still have not decided where my next home is going to be. So I'm still doing a little bit of like on the road, like going to multiple clinics. But as soon as I have a clinic, which might be coming soon, that I'm going to be mostly at, I'll post it, and I'll always continue to teach. I always have people come visit it, because that's just part of what I do.
Love it. Well, I think we're going to land the plane, and that's pretty much it for now. So if you had any other last minute advice, otherwise, we are good.
Okay, sounds good.
All right.
No, that's about
good.
it. And now, when people come visit, not only can I take them shoot machine guns like I did with a really nice guy from Australia, David Adia, but he was brave enough to also go fly with me at night.
You know what? You offered that to me. I think I'll take that upon that offer when I'm down there with you someday.
Yeah, come visit anytime.
So yeah. Thanks a lot, Dr. Gonzalez. Well, I think we're going to land the plane. Once again, I'm going to check out. This is your host, Dr. Noel Liu. Make sure to like and subscribe, and follow us on our next episode.